Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Elleiah and today we're going to deep dive into a very short video about Imbolc. Now, Imbolc is the second festival in the wheel of the year, depending on whether you're celebrating the Celtic farming traditions or the pagan calendar. And it's also usually celebrated on either the 1st or the 2nd of February. I say the 1st or the 2nd is because that changes depending on what traditions you celebrate. Personally, I've always seen Imbolc being on the 2nd of February. I've always celebrated it on this day. My family have always seen it on that day. However, I do know other people who do celebrate it on the 1st. And I also know that some people wait until the very first full moon of February to celebrate. And that's all because of the correspondences and the magical symbols that both the moon and Imbolc have. So that leads me on quite nicely to my next section, and that is the names that Imbolc goes by. If you are Celtic or of a Germanic descent, pagan people call it Imbolc. I know some people spell it in a different way. Instead of having it as a C, they'll put a G on the end and pronounce it more of Imbolc as instead of Imbolc. However, the 2nd of February also has some other well-known days linked to it, such as Candlemas or Brigid's Day or Saint Brigid's Feast. And the reason for that is because the Celtic goddess Brigid, at the time that Britain was being Christianised, Brigid became a saint, and so she had her own feast day which happened to fall on the day that Brigid actually was a bit more well known in the Celtic mythology anyway, and which was the 2nd of February. So, and of course the Candlemas is on the 2nd of February as well. And they all seem to have something linked in between. And it's definitely that sense that winter is beginning to end and there is hope coming into the world. So Candlemas is often known as the Feast of Virgin Mary and of Jesus and their purification, whereas Saint Brigid has this feeling of hope and the new emergence of the spring time that is now coming to the world, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere. And this links quite well to Imbolc because Imbolc is very much a festival of light. I always like to compare Imbolc in a way to Divali. Obviously it's a different time of year, but it's very much that light is coming back into the world, that spring is now coming, and that it is not long until, baby lambs will start to be here again, crops will be able to start to flourish, and basically the sun is coming back and all the wonderful things that come with that. Whilst Imbolc doesn't mark spring itself, because spring equinox has that, it does mark the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So that midpoint between Yule and Ostara, you will find Imbolc. Now I've gone into a little detail about the history of Imbolc and what it's celebrated for, which is light, hope and the emergence of spring. I'd now like to deep dive a little bit into what you can be doing at Imbolc time to celebrate it. Imbolc, for me, hasn't always been one of the bigger celebrations. I've always, paid my appreciation to it and I've always nodded my head. But this year I think we are definitely starting to do a little bit more, especially now we've come out of a really hectic year and we get to enjoy the little things a little bit more. Being the Feast of Virgin Mary or the Feast of Brigid or the Feast of Saint Brigid, depending on what path you're on, Of course, one of the amazing ways to celebrate is by having a good old feast. Now, let's face it, when isn't there a good enough point to have just a lot of food on the table? But it is a feast day, and therefore a lot of people do like to hold banquets for their family and to just enjoy the offerings and the hope that food brings you. When it comes to the types of food, I would always try to go for something that's fairly light in colour, things that are white or pale, light browns, things like pastry. And the reason for that is because Imbolc does symbolise light coming back into the world. And so if you do like to work with colours, you want to work with something that's along those whitish, light yellows, light browns, perhaps even light pink and light blue. You're going to want to go along those lines. And of course that brings me quite nicely into my second way to celebrate Imbolc, which is about decorating your house, your working space, your altar, depending on wherever you like to decorate. And of course you're going to want to start bringing some nature back into your home. Now of course after winter, you've had your Yule log, you've said goodbye to the plants that aren't evergreen, but very, very soon you'll start to see little sprouts coming back into the world again. You're going to want to bring some flowers into your home, things that are again light in colour but also around at this time of year. Things like pansies, things like snowdrops. Snowdrops are everywhere in February. I cannot remember a year without not seeing snowdrops everywhere. Whenever I go to a woods or the countryside, all I can see is snowdrops. And again, being white and of nature is the perfect representation of Imbolc. My third tip would definitely be perhaps looking at doing some spring cleaning. Now, spring cleaning can happen obviously at any time of the year, and I would also recommend this very much for Ostara as well. But with Imbolc, it's a good time to recognise that we are now starting to come out of those dormant months where we've kind of been a little bit in hibernation. We've been stuck in our homes trying to keep warm, stocking up on the things that we need, and now we can actually start to go back out again, go back out into the world. The history of Imbolc was that the farming calendar was going to start to resume again, and so now is a very good time to be able to start getting rid of the things that we've used up and cleaning the house out ready, so as soon as that farming calendar starts and things start to become hectic, we don't have to worry so much about trying to declutter our house and all of that. And of course not all of us have farms anymore. This is a very old farming calendar that was dated thousands of years ago. But even in a mental state, especially coming from I think the year that we've just had, now is probably a great time as well just to say goodbye. If, unlike me, you haven't yet done a good New Year's spruce up or a redecoration, now is a great time to do so before you can enjoy the summer, and fingers crossed we can all go out this summer again and see our loved ones. Anyway, so this is a very short and sweet overview of Imbolc. I do hope that it has cleared a couple of points up for you and given you some ideas of what to do. If you like this video, don't forget to like and comment down below and subscribe if you haven't already. But until next time, I'm going to wish you a very magical week, and I'll see you later. Bye everyone.